I'm Sarah. I'm the owner of Parsonage Events, and welcome to my quarantine video series, Naptime Tutorials. If you have watched my story, you know that I have a almost 2-year-old daughter, and I thought it'd be kind of fun while she takes a nap that I get to play with some leftover flowers I had. Something honestly to do in this crazy quarantine time. Something I can do staying at home. I am in my basement. I have a little bit of a setup going on right now. But I thought it could be something kind of fun for you guys to learn. Just easy things like how to put flowers from outside or the grocery store or your local florist. When you get those mixed bunches, how to sort of put those into vases, make them pretty around your house for just your everyday life or parties. Parties is something that's really on my mind right now. My mom's birthday is Sunday and my daughter's birthday is next Wednesday. We don't get to have a party for them right now. So I have all this stuff around my house ready and prepared to have a party that we're not having. So I thought I would show you guys and show you a few things and how to do. Hopefully you like it. To start out, I want to show you just some simple things on floral frogs. These are floral frogs. We have quite the variety in sizes. This is a massive one, little teeny tiny one. You can get these at all sorts of places. Garage sales, I think you can Amazon them, lots of wholesalers carry them, and there's a couple of different varieties. I like this kind that actually has these sharp pins. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it has these pins. Now what I like about this is I really find that when you stick the flowers into it, it stays a little bit better, which I prefer, and it's easier for someone at just a beginner status. I think it makes life a little simpler. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take some vases. These are actually vases that I had bought for my daughter's birthday party, and then some that I had bought for a friend of mine was having a baby shower. Neither happening. So I thought we would take these vases. Now these are something that I got at just a local store, and they were only $1.99. Now you can get small vases like this, which small vases are nice for floral frogs, and we'll get there later. But you can get small vases like this pretty much anywhere, even the dollar store or garage sales, or simply look around your house, see what kind of old stuff you have. We don't have to spend a lot of money to bring in a little bit of style. For example, I have an old bottle right now holding my wire, so you can do a lot with stuff you have around your house. Okay, getting to the floral frogs. So I'm going to use this smaller size today, and as you can see, we have a bunch of sticky stuff on the back. This is cling. Now this is something I get from my wholesaler, but to be honest, I'm pretty sure I've seen it at Hobby Lobby, and maybe even Michael's. Sometimes they have a little floral section, or some sticky tack would work. It's just kind of a floral sticky tack. So we're going to take a little bit of this, and what you do, you don't need a whole ton, but you stick it on the back, and we're going to adhere this right to the middle of our vase, just like that. And be careful because these are a little sharp, so no, don't press too hard and hurt yourself, but you want it nice and secured. Now, just a little fun fact, these vases, and this will be hard to see here, I'll try to get it closer. Now these actually had a hole at the bottom. We took a silicone and filled that up, so don't be afraid if you see a super cute planter, but you don't really have the need or that's not your style to do plants. You can always use it for a vase and fill that hole up. We do it all the time. Some of the cutest things are planters. So I'm going to put our little floral frogs into our other vases here. Now with that silicone, it did make it a little bumpy, so it doesn't get quite that flat adherence on those ones, but we shouldn't have too much of a problem with that. So don't freak out if your vase isn't completely flat. Maybe add a little extra sticky tack and you will be fine. Okay, perfect. I'm going to add a little bit of water. Our flower's going to stay hydrated here. Now I'm going to show you sort of a minimalist look with these. The reason I'm doing so is I really wanted to show what you could do with just a few stems. So for example, say, hey, you're throwing a dinner party, and you're like, oh gosh, I forgot to order something. I forgot to stop by the store. Well, luckily, summertime around here, things are beautiful. There's lots of greeneries. There's lots of blooms all around, even just on the roadside. Stop, pick a few things. That's what we do. And throw them in a vase, and it can really add a nice accent. Okay. I've got some pretties. Now, this is sort of what I had left over. So I have lots of these beautiful, I believe this was a hearts rose, gorgeous color on it. And it's open really nicely. It's been sitting in my breezeway for a little while, so it's got a pretty open on it. And these are some really gorgeous garden roses. Gotta love them. I've got some rice flower here. I've got some astrantia, which I'm probably butchering that name. This is some lisianthus. I just had a few stems of this and a little bit of wax flower. Now, I like flowers for this minimalist look that have this more airy feel to them. So something that's got a few breaks in the stem. Something that's going to have a little bit of movement is just things that I like. You don't necessarily have to do that if you have something out in your yard that maybe doesn't, or you're just a huge fan of a really big bloom like a rose or something like that. You can work with anything. Now, when I do this sort of minimalist look, I like to cluster my vases. So sometimes when I'm designing, I like to see the finished product, how it's going to be. So I will leave them sort of set how I'm going to set them, so I know how they interact with one another. I like a little height on my stuff. I'm not afraid to block anyone's view. At my own dinner party, we can move it, we can whatever. I like the aesthetic to be there when people walk in. Which my family's probably laughing because they're like, what dinner parties do you have and put on? I'm always too busy in the summer with weddings, so they're probably laughing right now at me. But here, I'm going to try to show you without spilling the water. So when you stick it in, you're going to want to stick right into those really sharp, almost like little nails. And that's going to give you the ability for your floral to stand up. There we go. I have to actually look at the vase and not at the camera. I'm going to move this just so you guys can see. So now you have this kind of single stem airy feel, and you're thinking, oh, it's not really that finished vibe. So this is where we're going to go in with some of our bigger blooms, and we're going to go a little bit lower and kind of fill out our vase just a touch. Now, I like mixing, but I also like when stuff has the same in it. So I'm going to go ahead and put another garden rose, and I'm going to give it a little different level. This just gives it a little bit of dimension in our piece. And then I'm going to also take a little bit of greenery. Now this is Israeli ruscus. You can most likely get this at your grocery store, or you can absolutely get this at your local florist. This just happens to be what I had, so this is what we're using today. I love in the summertime going outside and picking greenery off the trees, off the bushes. That is my absolute favorite. You get some really wonky, cool pieces, and that's just going to give a little extra element to your design. But today we're working with what we have. I don't always put greenery in these arrangements, but because I want it to feel nice and full for the party, I am going to put a little in there. So I just cut the stem. You can see this is what was left over, and picked a few things up. You don't really want any stems or pieces of greenery sitting in your water. That's going to make it mold faster, kind of just get yucky. And if you've ever dumped out an old vase of flowers, you know they can get stinky. So that's going to help prevent that. And also changing your water will help prevent that too. So I'm just going to put another little piece in. Now in design, you like to have odd numbers. So I'm going to throw in maybe just another little piece of this astrantia. Nice balance. Now I'm going to move this. And actually, you know what? I'm really liking this balance right now that I have going on with my taller bit in the center. So we're going to leave it. Sometimes you got to change things on the fly, you know, whatever's looking good to you. So I'm just going to keep going through with these other arrangements and pop in some flowers here. Now I'm using some roses, some lisianthus, and in these next two pieces, I do like when your ends have a little bit of balance to them. So I'm going to want to take something like this rose and maybe carry it through to this other arrangement. It kind of just gives it an equal feel, which is what you sort of want. I added a few more pieces. Now I'm definitely comfortable with having a touch of height on these ends, but I don't quite want it as tall as my centerpiece. Now, if I was going a little more asymmetrical with this, I would want to go taller on the ends, but for what I'm doing right now, taller in the middle is good with me. I just heard my dog come down the stairs. You might hear a dog or a cat or a kid, you know. We're working with what we got right now in quarantine. And sometimes you'll find that your piece doesn't want to kind of stay. Now this has a really skinny stem on it, so this might not work the best for us right now. It sort of depends on how close or how far your pins in your floral frog are from one another. And we can't forget, got a little bit of our greenery for balance in this one. In fact, I think I'm going to cut it just even a little bit shorter. There we go. All right, again, I'm going to balance out my arrangement with another red rose on this side. I do hear my daughter. I got a late start in today's nap. I was actually thinking, oh, I'll do my hair, I'll get ready, and gave me a little bit of a late start. So we won't take too much more of your time either. I think I want a little extra white for a little balance on this side. And because I'm really seeing those two pink roses, I want to balance that out a little bit more. I'm going to add a third one in. Usually in design, you like to have odd numbers. Now to me, because these roses are all in the same family, we've got garden roses and regular roses. What I like to do is kind of count those all together because they're a similar style. So right now we've got 4 in here. We're going to add this 5th one in, and it's going to feel just a little bit better. Pretty. You guys, that's it. It's so simple. I might add just one little extra piece because I never can quite stop myself the full way. So I like this to really feel a little more elongated. So I'm going to go out a little bit further. So cute. Okay, well, I'm going to back the camera up in just a second and let you guys see the whole thing. But really, floral frogs are a super, super easy way to put a few flowers in a vase and really make it feel full. Nice little touch to your table, to even a sort of buffet style. I don't know if your families are like my family, but we tend to put all the food on one area. I like to pop in a few flowers in there. Always makes it feel a little more festive. So hopefully this is something you guys enjoyed today, and I will be back tomorrow with maybe a larger centerpiece for table. Hopefully I'll see you there. Come on, come on, come on.